Welcome again. Today we're going to talk about one of the most major issues that was highlighted recently, climate change. What is climate change? Climate change refers to a long-term shifts in temperature and weather patterns. These shifts may be natural, such as the variations in a solar cycle. But since the 1800s, human activities have been the main drive for climate change, primarily due to the burning fossil fuels like coal and gas, increasing greenhouse gas emission from human activities, act like a blanket wrapped around the earth, trapping the sun's heat and rising temperatures. Examples of greenhouse gas emissions that are causing climate change include carbon dioxide and methane. Effects of climate change. Warmer temperature over time are changing weather patterns and disrupting the usual balance of nature, posing many risks to human beings and all life forms on Earth. Nearly all lands are seeing more hot days and heat waves. 2021 was one of the most hottest year to be recorded ever. Higher temperatures increase heat-related illnesses and can make it more difficult to work and move around. Temperature rise is only one of the beginning of the story, because the Earth is a system where everything is connected. Change in one area often influence change in all others. The consequences of climate change now include intense drought, water scarcity, severe fires, rising sea levels, flooding, melting polar ice, and catastrophic storms. And of course, declining of biodiversity. United Nations Climate Change Conference in 2022 in Egypt. 197 nations, representative of civil society and other institutions came together at the World Climate Summit, which took place from 6 to 18 November in 2022 in Sharm el-Sheikh, and discussed and negotiated the current status of the Paris Agreement and the Framework Convention on Climate Change. It was the 27th United Nations Climate Change Conference of the Parties, which is also referred to as COP27. The International Climate Initiative, which also known as IKI, was again present at the 2022 conference with a variety of topics and formats.
Forests occupy nearly a third of Earth's land surface, providing humans and countless other species with a wide range of benefits and services, from ecological functions such as water and air purification to goods such as lumber and paper. Climate changes directly and indirectly affect the growth and productivity of forests through changes in temperature, rainfall, weather, and other factors. In addition, elevated levels of carbon dioxide have an effect on plant growth. These changes influence complex forest ecosystems in many ways. In conjunction with the projected impacts of climate change, forests face impacts from land development, suppressions of natural periodic forest fires, and air pollution. Although it's difficult to separate the effects of these different factors, the combined impacts is already leading to changes in our forests, as these changes are likely to continue in the decades ahead. Some of the valuable goods and services provided by forests may be compromised. Impact on forest growth and productivity. Many aspects related to climate change are likely to affect forest growth and productivity. 3 examples are described. First, increasing in temperature. Second, changes in precipitation. Third, increasing in carbon dioxide. Warming temperatures generally increase the length of the growing season. It also shifts the geographic ranges of some tree species. Habitats of some types of trees are likely to move north or to higher altitudes. Other species will be at risk locally or regionally if conditions in their current geographic ranges are no longer suitable. For example, species that currently exist only on mountain tops in some regions may die out as the climate warms, since they can't shift to a higher altitudes. Climate change will likely increase the risk of drought in some areas and the risk of extreme precipitation and flooding in others. Increased temperature alters the timing of snowmelt, affecting the seasonal availability of water. Although many trees are resilient to some degree of drought, increase in temperature could make future droughts more damaging than those experienced in the past. In addition, Drought increases wildfire risk since dry trees and shrubs provide fuel to fires. Drought also reduces trees' ability to produce sap, which protects them from destructive insects such as pine beetles. Carbon dioxide is required for photosynthesis, the process by which green plants use sunlight to grow, giving sufficient water and nutrients increasing in atmospheric. Carbon dioxide may enable trees to be more productive, which may change the disruption of tree species. Growth will be highest in nutrient-rich soil with no water limitation and will decrease with decreasing fertility and water supply.
Climate change would have much effect on the world's hot deserts. Global warming is increasing the incidence of drought, which dries up water holes. Higher temperature may produce an increasing number of wildfires that alter desert landscapes by eliminating slow-growing trees and shrubs and replacing them with fast-growing grasses. Erosion used for agriculture may in the long term lead to salt levels in the soil that become too high to support plants. Grazing animals can destroy many desert plants and animals. Potassium cyanide used in gold mining may poison wildlife. Overload vehicles, when used irresponsibly, can cause irreparable damage to desert habitats. Oil and gas production may disturb sensitive habitats, and nuclear waste may be dumped in deserts, which have also been used as nuclear testing ground. Climate change leads to desertification. What's the meaning of desertification? A process in which desert expand at the edges to increase temperature and loss of plants that can stave off soil erosion. This increase in temperature also enhances dust storms and push them into new communities. Desert dwelling organisms are also adapted to live at very special temperature, so the increase in heat leads to a loss of suitable habitats for plants and animals. Scientists had assumed that because these life forms have evolved to live with extremely temperature, they would survive climate change, but a study of desert areas in the southwestern United States shows they are more vulnerable than previously thought.
For an ecosystem that covers 70% of the planet, oceans get no respect. They feed us, provide most of the oxygen we breathe, and protect us from the worst effects of global warming. Conservation News examines some of the ways that climate change affects the oceans. Firstly, higher temperatures are bad for fish and for human beings. Warmer waters cause coral bleaching, which in turn impacts coral reef ecosystems, also threaten to cause mass migration of marine species. In search of the right conditions for feeding the spawning, change in water temperatures can directly affect the development and growth of most of fish. Secondly, rising sea levels represent a slow, seemingly unstoppable threat. When land-based polar ice melts, it finds its way to the sea. Ice that forms in polar seas, on the other hand, doesn't affect sea levels when it melts. Second, when water warms, it expands to take up more space, which causes sea level rise. Third, climate change is affecting the chemistry of seawater. The impacts of rising ocean temperatures and ocean acidification are already observable in the current environment. With increasing amount of atmospheric greenhouse gases, coral reefs are a great risk, and this consequently adds a strain to food production, coasting protection, and other services provided by coral reef ecosystems. In addition, plastic pollution is also known to contribute to ocean warming and threatens marine life. Since the Industrial Revolution, the amount of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere has increased by 35%, primarily from the burning of fossil fuels. Ocean waters, ocean animals, and ocean habitats all help the ocean absorb a significant portion of the carbon dioxide emissions from human activities. These changes ultimately cause a lasting impact on marine biodiversity and the lives and the livelihoods of coastal communities and beyond, including about 780 million people living in low-lying coastal areas, almost 2 billion who live in half of the world's megacities that are coastal. Nearly half of the world's population that depends on fish for protein, and almost 600 million people who work for fisheries and aquaculture sector worldwide.
If you're still here, thank you for your attention. This presentation was presented by Mīna Isaac, Nada Lebib, Rama Osama, and Yasmīna Muhammad, and was also directed by Ahmed Abdeshafi, also known as Omani. Thank you very much.